Hey, good afternoon, folks. Let's make that full screen, shall we? Now, it's sort of live after all, and I say sort of live because if you're on YouTube, you'd find out anyway. Usually, we try to do this live, but extenuating circumstances stuck their heads in, as happens in business sometimes. So this is a little tape delayed, although not much. It's only a couple hours difference. I'm still wearing the same shirt, I promise. My name is John Nelson. I am the plugin CEO of JKO Works and Plugin Business. And I want to talk to digital marketing agencies today and also those who have clients who serve other customers. I mean, this could be you too. Um, we can certainly go that route as well. But the most obvious target of that is to talk to digital marketing agencies about something that not only we will, is of value to you and to talk to your clients about because it's one of the strategies that we promote, but it's at the very heart of what these last few presentations about this have been all about. So this is what we call our 1090 agency client turnaround. There we go. And this is really and truly, this is one of my favorite subjects to talk about. Excuse me, because it's really a lot of fun. And once I have gotten really dug deep into this and got to the heart of it, I realize it's everywhere. I mean, when I was doing other businesses that had nothing to do with business and marketing optimization, I was still doing this same thing. I was bringing in other companies or representing other companies or in joint ventures and alliances and even collaborations, which is kind of a lesser version, with other companies and with outside people. It happens all the time. And just what this can offer for your company is just stunning if you're not taking advantage of it. There are some things you need to be aware of. And so we're going to talk about those a little bit today. But I hope you can catch a little bit of the magic of this and see why this collaboration in particular can be so special for your company. Because what we end up doing for you as agencies is we come along and augment what you're already doing and work through you. We're not here to replace you. We're here to work through you and make you look really, really good over, especially above all those other marketing agencies. If you want to find out more about this at any time, you can go to turnaround.jkoworks.com. Now, again, quickly, the turnaround, what that's based off of is if you're in a oil refinery or a steel mill or a manufacturing plant, there are times when they they take calculated opportunities to shut the equipment down because it's costing them money to shut the lines down. It really does. And but they choose to plan for that in advance because then what they do is they perform maintenance and repairs and all the things they can't do when the equipment's moving because it might get somebody hurt or killed. So we don't want that. Um, but that's the idea behind the turnaround, and then they fire everything back up, and they end up, getting so much value out of those regular maintenance and repairs, saving them from equipment breakages, saving them from safety issues, saving them from so many things, and that it's really worth it to them. So that's what we want to do for your 10 worst performing clients. I don't want the real problem children who you probably should have gotten rid of a long time ago. I was talking to somebody you'll probably meet in future episodes on the phone today, and we were lamenting there is real value sometimes in a consultant letting, or a coach or an agency letting a client go, firing them instead of the other way around, because that's when there are some real unredeemable problems. And so there's power in the message for that, but hopefully it never gets there. So that's not what we want. But what we want are your clients, are your customers that are just not getting the results no matter what you tried with them for any number of reasons. And you don't want to let them go. It's there's such promise there, but it's just not happening. So bring us in, let us come around and let us work on. I mean, we talk about doubling their profits in 90. Let us do some amazing work with some strategies we know will work that are business centric in 90 days. And we're going to do some, we hope to do some amazing things through you to get to them and make you look, like I said, make you look really, really good, and augment what you're doing. So let's get into the details of this, shall we? So this is a 90-day thing. We want your 10 worst performing clients. We take 90 days, work through definite strategies to turn them around. We start everything with what we call the success blueprint, and this is really where the magic happens. This is, I can quote statistics and industry things all day long, and what type of results you can get and that sort of thing. But what really moves the needle, what really makes that difference, is when we sit down with our profit acceleration software, our exclusive profit acceleration software, which will play a role in this in just a minute, that you didn't expect. But we sit down with that and with the client and with their numbers, and we actually work through what it is. Okay, if we did this strategy, here's what you can expect. If with just modest increases, say, you're prospecting, you want to make 20 sales a month. What if you make 25? If you're doing customer outreach and you figure you reach 500 people a month, what happens if you did 600? Small changes that have big impacts. That's what that, and then it gets to model that out with 497 million calculations. It's more than I'd ever do in my life. I'm good at math, but I am nowhere near that good. So it does all those, and you get to model out in front of the client what that actually looks like with their numbers. That's the only way this works, is with their numbers. So that kind of leads into the type of relationship that we get into. So as I say, we have over 40 strategies to choose from. We end up doing, during the success blueprint, about 3 or 4 of them. And of that, or around that, we've actually highlighted 5 of those 40 that we've been talking about the past little while, and still have a couple to go. And today we're talking about one of them, and that's alliances and joint ventures. We try to aim for one strategy implemented every 3 weeks. And we'll break down the details of what this looks like. But we do all this for one low price for the 90 days, for the entire 90 days. And agency, you're the one we're asking to pay this. I will guarantee you it's less than you bill them a month. They don't need to know this. This is something from you to try to help these 10 worst performing, as they succeed. And the hope is, if we can do that, and we can sing for our supper, and we can work with them through you, and we prove out what we know to be true, and some things that they're not doing, that they're not revolutionary concepts. They're just probably not being done as well as anybody would like to admit. So we approach that with grace, and we approach that with, okay, what if we made this small change and just try it just for fun to see what happens. There's really a calculated thing behind that, but you're getting buy-in. Okay, so then you work with them to make that happen. And oftentimes that's what people want. Yes, they want more sales. Yes, they want more profits. Yes, they want all those things, but sometimes they just want to have somebody, call out the things that they can, or validate something that was already in their head, but they can't seem to get implemented. Or sometimes, just like with your kids, it just sounds different coming from somebody else, doesn't it? So and better, it's more well received. So we do this for one low rate, but it's our hope that we prove ourselves enough with those 10 that we become a regular part of what your agency offers. So we can do more regular consulting engagements and coaching engagements with them. I keep using that consulting C word. Ooh, boy, that's a bad word. 20 years on. Thank you, Anderson Consulting. Thank you very little. The truth of it is, I didn't start with Anderson, but I started with a maintenance and reliability consulting company. Before the screw ups and the bad actors, there is real value in what they do. And there's real value in it being done right. And there are, like a lot of things, marketing agencies, this too, there are right and there are wrong ways to do things. And we all get painted with the same brush, whether or not that is truly the case or not. So, take that with what it is. We're coaches. This is a modern version of consultant, because we're listening, we're interacting, we're making this a part of. It's not just do it my way and screw you. It is taking your business as it is and working together to find creative solutions to your specific issues, not just tried and true boilerplate stuff that may or may not work. And I use that tried and true in, air quotes, right? So how does this work? All right, so this is the nuts and bolts of it. We do start with the success blueprint. It's 50 minutes of your client's time. It is absolutely free. So even if they choose, this doesn't work. I mean, everybody gets this as a part of every engagement that we do. We have to, because this establishes our roadmap. This establishes what we need to work on and where we need to go. It's you're flying blind without it. Then you are, spouting off the generic stuff that doesn't work. I would much rather have a game plan going into it, and it's a game plan they get to see. They get it handed to them at the end of that session, or very, very soon after. It takes a couple of hours to put it together, but it's right there, and you get it handed to them, and they get to see in action what we were talking about and why that makes sense. Okay. So we do that. And then it's unlimited 15-minute sessions. So we work on one task at a time. There's one next step at a time for every single meeting. We don't want to overwhelm anybody. Their life is busy, and we're working with those clients, and we're stepping through some of these things. And you know what? Truth be known, if we fudge a little bit and it goes longer than 15 minutes because we're on to something really good, then we just keep doing that. We'll work it out. So, but that's the idea. It's little short bursts, and there's always next steps. And those next steps are designed to move you closer to one of those 40 strategies that we do know work. And most of you, I'll show them in a minute. They'll be familiar to most of you. They're not rocket science, but they're also not being done. But that's our work with the client. We do a regular monthly meeting that involves not only the client, but you as the agency, you as the company who they're the client of. We want you involved in those regular checkup meetings, because there's 3 of them, and they're important because we need to track progress, and we need to plot what's coming up next, or where we want to kind of go work on. Remember, aiming for one strategy about every 3 weeks. But the beauty of the 15-minute thing is, if somebody's really on fire, as long as they do that next step we assign them, that will help their business grow. It's not just busy work. Then we'll have a meeting every day of the week if you want. As long as you get on that calendar. I mean, that's the way the system works. Or if you have somebody who's a little slower, or something comes up and you have to pause for a minute, they can do that for a few days, and it doesn't become this pressure thing that you have to make this meeting. It is within the client's control. But we really try to stress the importance of investing that time, however brief it is, and investing that effort in working on your business, not working in your business. All right. So we have that. We have a kickoff meeting, and we have a final turnaround report. Those are also similar meetings that are a part of this. So it's like a 4th meeting, because we're already meeting once a month anyway. The final one just includes a final report that shows this is the savings we got. This is what we did. This is how it turned out. And this is why it should matter to you. There are updates all along the way for you. We're just aiming to turn that into something very, very special that helps us later, after we have proven ourselves, offering you something that most marketing agencies don't have access to out there, because you're watching this, because you're referring a friend who has an agency, or somebody who serves clients as an agency in some capacity, an agency who has clients who serve their own customers, sort of a B2B thing. Then this is an edge that you can have that nobody else out there is talking about. Nobody else out there is doing. Yeah, you do the same thing about getting them, more clients coming in the door, more customers coming in the door, and that's valid. Half of what we do is marketing strategies. It's totally valid, but that may not be what they need right at that time. There may be some things in their house that if they don't get them in order, it doesn't matter how many clients you send them, it's going to fall. The wheels are going to come off. They're going to come off quickly, and they're going to run those clients off. So maybe, just maybe, if you like this idea, maybe we can do a success blueprint on your agency as well. it does apply to you too. So, and then give you that report so you have it as your resource. And who knows, maybe we'll work with you to turn that around as well using some of the same formats or using a full one-on-one coaching strategy that we have. That's our main profit work strategy that might work better for you. It just depends on how much time you want to devote to working on that a week. And how much progress you would like to make. So that's what we offer. But this 15-minute version works very, very well for a lot of people. But who am I? Why should you bother, paying attention to me or to my team or anybody else? Well, I am a business and marketing optimization strategist. This has, I'm newer to this space, and that I started in December, adding this to what was already a marketing agency. But I have 20 years of business ownership experience, some by myself, most with a team. I was a managing partner. I was the junior of the managing partners, if we're being honest with ourselves. So I got to sit at the feet of some really impressive people and learn and soak it all in and go through the highs of selling for one business for 8 figures and the lows of more than a couple of them that the concept just didn't prove out. And we ended up, having to crater it. So I have the benefit of all that, and plus some really cool and unique situations, ranging from international business, working with a company in China, to working in the Texas prison system. So, there is with all of that business related. So there's very, very cool stuff involved with that. But that means business operations is my backbone, and really, really that's what I bring to the party. But that also includes IT, that includes HR. Been a part of migrating several things. That includes sales and, of course, marketing as a part of that. But that also is purchasing, logistics, pretty much most aspects of a business in some form or another. I have been involved with on some level and had to manage and had to make efficient. So I get the fun and the benefit now of getting 40 plus strategies handed to me to say, okay, most of these and here's why they work, and here are the numbers with the success blueprint to back them up. But here's a few that you didn't think about, and those, a lot of those are what we end up stressing here in our 40 plus that we use. So, and we're also fanatical about the business process. That's the only way this works, is if you have repeatable systems set up in your company, or we can get you there to something it keeps things simple. You just do it over and over and over and over and over, and it works. And then every once in a while you go back and revisit it and make sure that it's still as effective as when you started, and you make process improvements if that's the case. That's not firing people who don't need to be fired. There are some people who just do a bad job and they're a drain on your company and they need to go. But there are plenty who really just need either a different outlook or some encouragement or some recognition or involvement of their good ideas. They have some amazing ideas, but nobody pays attention to them for investing back in the company. They believe in, if you take care of the company should take care of you. And so most of the time, that's the overlooked part of coaching. Speaking of getting painted with the same brush, everybody, that's the one everybody ignores. But it can be so, so powerful. Taking the people you have and making sure they're in the right seat and the right job for what they really are good at, and watching them blossom, and how awesome that is. So that's what we're all about. I hope some credential enough, but now I get to bring lots of toys to back up what it is that I'm talking about. But just in case you have any doubt of where I come from, most of these businesses are not marketing related. And in fact, I wish I knew some and was reminded of some of these business and marketing strategies back when, because some things would have been different, and maybe some companies wouldn't have cratered. Concept ideas wouldn't have created or wouldn't have been formed in the first place and cost us a lot of money. So wished I know then what I know now, but isn't that always the case with everybody? Okay, so here are those 40 strategies we were talking about. We're adding new ones all the time, so this list will only grow and get smaller and harder to read. But you do see that half of these are business over here, business centric. These are the ones we tend to focus on. We figure you have the marketing handled. But in the case you don't, we will be willing to implement those strategies with you to make them happen. Because there's some over here that, if we're honest with ourselves, make a whole lot of sense to marketers, but they don't do them sometimes, or they hadn't got around to it, or whatever. Yeah, my father-in-law used to have little wooden things. They called them round to it, so he was gonna go get around to it at some point. That's just kind of his sense of humor. But I think about Jim every time I say that phrase. So, but it doesn't really exist, guys. Just so you know. But it's just kind of fun because we say that so much. We just don't get those things done that we need to get done. So, of these 40 strategies, we've been narrowing it down this last little while to at least 5 of them that we know businesses aren't focusing on, and if they did, it would make a world of difference, no matter their situation, right here, right now, to get started quickly if they're willing to implement them. Um, and so you see all the different ones we've been talking about, what a market dominating position is, and how you can really get inside somebody's head to meet their hot button issues. Then you give them a compelling offer that's so hard to say no to that if they do, they feel like they're an idiot for saying no to it. We've talked about cutting costs and what that looks like. That's really at the core of coaching, or at least seemingly anyway, but it can really have some dramatic, just common sense things before you start slashing people and doing dumb things that don't make a lot of sense. There's really just some basic stuff about being a good customer to your suppliers, but demanding in return good performance from them. You have every right to do that, but you want to make sure that you're a good customer and be worthy of that investment. Then we have alliances and joint ventures we're talking about today, and then we'll get to policies and procedures next time. So, this is, like I said, this is my favorite because this has so much potential. Everybody's doing this right now; they just don't realize it. There's so much potential here for what this can do. So let's talk briefly about our process, though. This is what we go through with everybody. This is what we will go through with every single one of your 10 clients that you give us at turnaround.jkoworks.com, right? So we usually start with the kickoff meeting for us, and somewhat for them. There's a little introduction there of, okay, these are the people, and then you have a quick one with them and you, one of your representatives, and say, we brought these guys in to work with you. There are some things that we want to help you try to get in place, so then it can help our marketing perform that much better for you. So they're working under us. If there's any questions, ask either one, and we'll go from there, and we'll be fully transparent on that handoff. Then we start with the success blueprint on them. If they're a business with a local office, whether or not it actually sees people or not in it, doesn't that are customers in it. The digital success blueprint you see down here is for an online only business. So know that we have that flexibility as well. The strategies are slightly different, but most of what you see in these previous 5, we're going to lead with. It's just what happens after that. Maybe some of the things that we end up changing, and it changes your approach too. As you know, it's a different audience. It's a wider audience. It's you have to be more intentional. The market dominating position is a little harder in that sense, but it's no less necessary. You have to stand out more so than ever, and it's harder than ever when you're all online versus in a bigger place with more people doing the same things you do, versus a local business with a local presence. So then we embark on the turnaround process. It takes 90 days, and we can do that. Now we can add on as a part of, and then we hope for either afterwards a 90-day or 6-month version of the ProfitWorks Jumpstart, which is essentially what we're going through with this turnaround. That is the 15-minute unlimited sessions, or we can go to a full-blown coaching engagement, which is 1 hour a week. And we really work hard with regular meetings to try that are scheduled, that are longer term, and we really dive into us doing work and them doing work. We work with you. We don't hand this to you and say, good luck, try it, do it, I know it works, try it. No, we're actually doing that work with you and encouraging you every step of the way and holding you accountable. There's accountability in this that is not in a typical marketing client relationship. But we can add along the way, if it helps, for a modest cost per customer, access to our Success Academy. This is a lot of DIY training. It's virtual MBA level stuff. It's a year's worth of information, doled out a week at a time, or really it's just all there. I mean, you can go in and look at it. You can use it for background into these strategies that we talk about and have somebody else explain it a different way. There are, mobile versions of this. There are workbooks you can download that go along with it that talk about things like the market dominating position and the compelling offer. And frankly, pretty much all these strategies, these 5 strategies that we're working through, they are all detailed in here in detail. So somebody doesn't have to feel like a customer, or an agency doesn't have to feel like a dummy because there's not something they understand and they're afraid to ask the question. They can go look and see what this is all about and get completely boned up on it, completely informed as to what they need to know, and then come back ready to work because they understand the concepts. And they don't feel foolish because they at the time maybe didn't know. There's other add-ons and things that we can do, but this is very much the heart of this entire 1090 turnaround program. Okay, so it's your 10 worst performing clients we work on for 90 days, 1090, and that's what we get to. So if that's something, turnaround.jkoworks.com is where you can always go to find out more information about that. But just a couple more things here. So this is briefly the ProfitWorks Jumpstart side of this. These are unlimited 15-minute sessions. They are working through each one of the strategies. They're based on the blueprint. There is always a next step for that. And then later when we're done, there can be a 3-month or a 6-month version of this again, where we go through the same thing. We just continue what's already happening. And then also, or we can go to a full engagement. The nice thing about this step is strategy is it's very, very versatile. We can either work on the strategies that we talked about that you see in the blueprint, or we can switch gears, especially in the later implementation after the 1090 turnaround is done. Maybe these guys say, you know what, I've implemented all the strategies I need right now, but I need somebody I can talk to about this stuff. I need somebody who can answer my questions so I don't look like an idiot in front of my staff because I feel inadequate or I'm uninformed about something as to why it would work or why it doesn't or where it comes from. I'm not a business, I'm not an expert in this or that or the other thing. Well, it's our job to be that, and it's our job to be your sounding board, to be your coach, to be your person that's alongside you, that you can confidentially and confidently talk to about stuff. And we're not going to laugh. We're not going to say that's a stupid idea. We're going to work through every aspect of it with you and let you draw your own conclusions. But we're there to be that resource that we all wish we had at some point. And some of us were very, very blessed and lucky to have mentors who would do things like that. Others were not. They just have a great idea and a drive to get started. And then they realize, they get in and realize they're in over their head and they don't know what they're doing. But they so want to, because what they have is so special. They just need some help. So that's the beauty of this ProfitWorks Jumpstart in a 90-day or 6-month version. And we just do that 6 months at a time. As long as you say you wanted that and you wanted to be around for 2 or 3 years, we'll work with as long as you want, just 6 months at a time. And the rate is unbelievable for that amount, for what you pay for it. It's one price. Then we just do the unlimited 15-minute sessions, and we just keep working until it's fast or slow as you want to go. So you get the value out of it. Okay, that's the way that works. Now, 3 final points, and then we're gonna talk about alliances and joint ventures. First of all, you should be not only as an agency, but you should encourage this of your clients. If they're not doing this, they are behind. Okay, you should be investing at least 2 hours of dedicated work on your business. This is not making or answering sales calls. This is not making sure bills are paid or doing accounts receivable. This is none of that stuff. This is something that is equally important. It's working on the systems that make your business stable. So as orders do start coming in and success starts happening, and you as the agency get these people, all these clients, get these all these customers or all these clients coming through their door, that the wheels don't come off and they don't start giving bad service because they're overwhelmed. So this is you need to take 2 hours at least every week to work on that, and that is regardless of whatever time that we spend together, however long that is. You should be doing this on your own. This is business ownership 101. Every business owner you talk to, if they didn't learn it right away, trust me, they learned it later. So just know that up front. This is also an accountability relationship, as I've kind of hinted at this entire time. We're not here to shame you. We're not here to, to berate you for being stupid or having a bad idea. But at the same time, we don't want the lazy person either. We don't want the one who just doesn't care about their business. If we're at the right people, I promise they're very passionate about their business. They may be misdirected on where to go, but if they're to how to make it, what they wanted it to be, but if they're willing to be a little coachable and a little teachable, then and to have ideas of their own and to bounce them off and to discern why they will or will not work. Sometimes your greatest ideas come from our customers, guys. They really do. Because they know their people. They have taken the time to do that and to learn that and to know that, and they know how they can best help. So it's an interactive, accountable relationship. It's not just provide a service and see you later. So that's the beauty of what we do. That's the beauty of what we get to offer, and it's fun, and it's good, and it's positive, and it makes that real business life change that much more real for these folks. So you show them, then you end up showing them more profits. You end up bringing them more customers. They're serving those customers extremely well because all their systems and their processes are in place to handle that volume as it scales up, instead of just, imploding or, and somebody may embezzle or try to embezzle money or theft happens in companies all the time. It's, are you prepared to deal with stuff like that? And those are all different aspects we can help work on. Okay, but it's an accountability relationship. That's the only way this works. And so we want people who are motivated to make changes on their business, and then we can worry about the rest. You can't, how does it go? You can't coach heart, right? You can't coach want to. You can coach technique. And so that will help you with technique, but you got to bring the want to, as do your clients. And one final point here is, seems to be freezing for some reason. There it goes. Okay, it's still sort of live. Okay, one final point is any of this time spent, any of this money spent is working on your business is not an expense. It is an investment. Anybody who is successful at a small business or medium-sized business at some point in their life will tell you that. Any of this time spent from a couple of screens ago is an investment worth doing in your business. It will matter. It will make a difference. So treat it as such. And don't ever look at it as an expense and a drudgery, because then it doesn't help anybody, least of all you. Certainly doesn't help us, but it really, really, really doesn't help you, and that would be a shame. All right. So thank you for letting me go through the pitch a little bit, because that's a lot of what this is. We want to be able to show this to your 10 worst performing clients and to you as an agency. So turnaround.jko.works is the place to go to do that. But let's talk about one of the strategies that we would use, as we have been doing, and that is alliances and joint ventures. And this is the fun stuff. So, but why is it the fun stuff? So we're going to talk about 3 different types, 3 different approaches as to why this works. One of them is the customer journey version as to how this could work. So it could be customer journey driven. This could be complementary service driven. There's some insight on that in just a minute we'll get to. And similar but not the same is a white label driven. It could be set up for that too. Chances are, particularly in small business, you may have come across each one of these at some point, but if not, let me enlighten you, especially about the first one, as to how that works. The second 2 you probably have come across, but The first one, I don't know if you've thought about. And I only say that because I've brought it up to many, many people, and they get the look like they hadn't thought of it that way before. And which is the same look I got when I first learned about it, because I hadn't thought of it that way before. So, everybody needs to learn about this stuff. So let's talk about customer driven type of things. So basically what this is imagine the buying chain. Okay. Like a good example of this that we use all the time would be a wedding. Okay. When you have a wedding, there is a certain order to the way things happen. And I'm not talking about the ceremony. I'm talking about the prep work. Okay. So you first ask and they say yes. So then the next thing you got to do is, or you may have to do it in the beginning, is have a ring, right? You got to have a ring. So there's people involved with the ring. Next they say yes. So now we have to start making plans. We have to think about a dress possibly for a bride. We have to think about any jewelry or anything goes along with that. We have to think about a venue. We have to think about honeymoon. We have to think about the reception. Where is that going to be? What's involved with all these things? And and where is all this going to happen? We think about people standing up there with you. What are they wearing? Where is that coming from? So all along this chain are businesses that are ready, able, and willing, and the wedding industry is an industry unto itself, in case you didn't know. But I suspect many of you do. It's a whole industry unto itself. So, I mean, there's a whole host of people, of services that are gathered around just that event. But did you know there's a progression to them? So if you think about the timeline and the way things happen, think about a business that plugs in at each point of that timeline, ready to make that happen, make that particular aspect happen for that particular point in the timeline. Now, imagine what happens if you start connecting those businesses together. So the jeweler is tied to, has a relationship. This is all powered by referrals, by the way, as you see in the middle there. So through referrals, think about the jeweler has a tie to the dressmaker. They all have ties to venues, because there's only specific reasons you'd go find a wedding dress, right? There's a lot of reasons to find a tux for guys or a suit, but there's pretty much only one reason to do a wedding dress, isn't it? And that's you're getting married. So there's venue tied to that. There's with the venue, there could be, there could be people associated with the wedding, maybe musicians, maybe flowers, maybe anything else around that, a minister, depending on how that works, somebody to marry you. You then you go to the reception. There's a whole host of stuff tied to that. There's transportation to all the places for the wedding party. There is, there's all kinds of extra things there that are, so there's food, there's drink, there's music, there's, whatever, at the reception, whatever it is you're doing, there's the honeymoon that's afterwards. All these businesses are connected together, every single one of them, or they can be if you orchestrate it that way. So that works in referrals, as many of you know, are people who are referred are 75 to 92% more likely to buy from someone if they are referred to that particular business. So if the dressmaker is tied to a particular, they like a particular wedding venue. I'm not sure that's the case, but let's just say they do. Then they've got it set up behind the scenes, unbeknownst to the bride, that they have already said, here's this perfect wedding venue that we can recommend, that your dress would look awesome at, and you would look amazing at in your dress at that venue, getting married, and the event of your lifetime. And meanwhile, behind the scenes, there's a relationship there that says, okay, if I bring this couple to you who wants to get married, you pay me referral fee for doing that. If I place them in your hand, in your capable hands, then that's a referral fee to the jeweler or the dressmaker in that case. Then it goes on to the next. So the wedding, then you have the reception. Well, they know some great places to have a reception. They may or may not be in the same location. Let's just say they're not. So here's a place. Here's a couple of places we can recommend. Never mind, they have relationships with them. So once they choose one of those, then you get to then there's a referral that happens there, and so then that person gets the benefit of being there. The next business in line pays the previous business, the wedding venue who referred them, and so they make a little extra money. And so that sounds sort of unethical and backroom, but if you think about it, it's really not. It's just good business, and it happens all the time. You don't know. Every affiliate you see, this won't change your price, and it shouldn't. That you refer. Maybe you get a special deal, but I mean, everybody else, somebody else could get that special deal too. That's not an affiliation. They try to. You got to make it equal so you don't violate any regulatory issues there. But I mean, provided you do that, it happens all the time. It's their whole large businesses are built off of that. You do have to be careful because to take good care of those referrals, though, because a relationship is on the line and a reputation is on the line. So if it's a bad referral or somebody doesn't perform, or you be careful about what's in that chain, because if one bad apple in there can really cause problems. So it's in everybody's interest to make sure that the referred people are treated well, and that stays solid as you go through the whole thing. Okay, so that's community driven. That's that's customer buying chain driven. Okay, and that's a really cool one that I didn't fully understand the power of until more recent years, as opposed to some of the other ones we're going to talk about. Okay, let's talk about complementary service versions of this. This is where a company comes in that provides a service that makes what you do better. Sound familiar? Does it? So you bring in a company to do websites because you don't have a good web designer on staff, and they design stunning ones. Or you bring in a company to work on business optimization strategies because to help the marketing strategies you're already doing, right? So yeah, it's all based off of that. But this too is very common, especially to you marketing agencies. You're very familiar with this. It increases your catalog, increases your catalog dramatically for those who are really good at managing this and keeping track of it. It's totally worth doing, and it happens all the time. But this too is an alliance or a joint venture. Okay, it doesn't mean doing a whole new company. It just means bringing somebody in as a subset of what you do to make what you do better, right? You do have to be careful though, because if these people that you bring in mess up, it's still your name, your image that the customer is going to look to. They're going to come to you for answers because you're the people, which kind of speaks to the thing from previous, right? It really does. And so it's so you have to be very, very careful of that and nurture those relationships and take care of those relationships on both sides. If you're brought in to perform a service, you need to provide that service, above and beyond. If you're the one bringing them in, you need to make sure that they're doing what it is that you want them to do in the way that you need them to do it. At a reasonable price, and that it's adding to what you do, not taking away from it. Okay, so that's something to be worked out. Now, in addition to the relationship, this entire turnaround relationship that is complementary service marketing at its finest, guys. Yes, I get it. That wasn't part of the reason. We actually use our own complementary services in-house. So the Success Blueprint relies on a piece of software called the Profit Acceleration Software. I didn't come up with this software. I don't come up with this software. There's a company that we get this from, that we get access to it from, because it does the 497 million calculations that I will never be good enough to do. but they provide the ability for us to make that to make that happen, to make us better than the sum of our parts by ourselves. So our success blueprint is completely run off of that. And as you hopefully have seen, the success blueprint in all of this drives everything because it gives us the directions to go in. So that's complementary service marketing, right? I mean, a complementary service alliances and joint ventures. Now, the final one here is white label. This is a little more straightforward. This is, and many of you have done this, and there are very, very good versions of this that can help go high level, dash clicks, ClickFunnels itself, any number of things that can make this happen for people. And so they white label the service and make it a part of their own. So suddenly that dashboard then, is never mind who it's powered by. They make it look like it belongs to your company. So it makes what you do better. It's often a core part of your business, and it's something that's very, very important to be a part of. But this too is an alliance and a joint venture. When you get to represent, these different services, there's still an agreement between the companies that you need to be a good customer for them to use their services, and they need to provide you the services that they promised, and they need to be usable, and they need to add to the business and not take away from it. So, I mean, there's so many ways to do this, but this is the very common white label thing that happens all the time. And there's not a lot of gotchas here, other than you just need to always be vigilant of the situation and the value that it's providing, and that it's often seen as a core part of your business. So if something doesn't work well, then you need to make that change sooner rather than later. Give them a chance to make amends, but if that doesn't work, then you need to replace it quickly, because oftentimes this can be a pretty significant chunk of what your business is and how you serve or attract or deal with your customers on a regular basis, or their customers, or what they provide, that sort of thing. So it's got to be up and running, got to be good. Okay, so final points here about why you should even bother doing these. Okay, I mean, most of it's pretty obvious, but the first is your business benefits. That's obvious, right? So your business benefits from the extra catalog enhancements that these services provide. Your business benefits from the referral fees, even though you have to pay some out the other end if you're doing the customer journey version. Your business benefits from referrals anyway. So I mean, there's lots and lots and lots of, most of what this is about is how your business can benefit from it. Okay. But also the customers can benefit. Okay. Now, how do the customers benefit from alliance and joint venture? Well, they get a better, much improved product or service. They get, something that's a better fit, that's a better deal, that's good, that they couldn't get otherwise. They get access to strategies and different ways of doing things, and tactics and services and software and products and things that they wouldn't get otherwise, but for the inclusion of these alliances. And one more point on the business side is sometimes these businesses, they don't get to, they get, well, I guess I'll touch on that here in just a second, because you sort of build a community out of this. Businesses who get access, they then get access to communities they never would have otherwise. They get access to groups of people that their product or service can help that they never would have otherwise. You in turn get the access to their group as ways to turn that around. So there's lots and lots and lots of benefits to alliances and joint ventures. Be kind of careful how you structure them. There should be some structure there, and most of that's already laid out, depending on what it is. But other than that, I mean, just everybody be clear-eyed, as they say, on how that structure is going to work, and why that should make a difference, and everybody should be fine with it. Okay. there's so many compelling reasons to use to do an alliance or a joint venture. There's almost too many in a way, because there's just as many options, and so you can get overwhelmed and lost in it. So don't let that happen where it sabotages your process for getting and keeping customers. But as a business in general, but know that it's there, know that it's possible, know that it happens all the time, and know that it's a critical part of helping a business grow and expand and scale and whatever other word you need. Serve their customers extraordinarily well, above all others. Really stand out to the customers that they do serve, and keep those customers for a very, very long time. Lots of reasons to do it. So lots of advantages to that. So that's just one of the strategies of the that we use. We've been working through the 5. We only have one more primary one to go. We have 40 to choose from. So depending on every business's situation, it's a little bit different. That's why we start with a success blueprint, and we want to go from there. So if this could help your 10 worst performing clients, the next step is yours. The next step is your opportunity to try and turn that around. Go to turnaround.jklworks.com. Can't say it enough. Turnaround.jklworks.com. And let's start that journey. The success blueprint is free for everybody, including you, including your agency. It'd be kind of fun. Certainly the calls are free. And then I promise you, the price is less than what you're probably billing your clients for what they do. So start with that journey there. If you have questions, comment where you're watching this. I'll be back truly live next time as we talk about policies and procedures. But for right now, this is something I want to see people move the needle on. So everybody begins to get the benefit and see the power of this. It's truly amazing. And for marketing agencies, this is the complimentary service that nobody else is offering you. So, and I'm glad of that, because that means more business for us. But but we think this is a great value for you. It's unbeatable. I know the times are a little crazy, so this will help with a great price and a great offer. And then you all of a sudden are teaming with success, turning these people that were on the bubble, these customers of yours that were on the bubble, turning them into something truly very special, into some of your all-stars, and really making that happen. Thanks so much for watching through this. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions, like I said, comment where you see this, and go to turnaround.jklworks.com to get started. And otherwise, we will see you next time. Take care.